Yoo-hoo! Yoo-hoo! Yeah, you, get up. Rise up. I said rise up. Yep, rise up. Never give up. Always get up. Gotta rise up. My friends, welcome to another episode of the Todd Durkin Impact Show. Today, you're in for a real treat. Matter of fact, when we talk about an episode, Choose to Rise, you are going to be absolutely inspired to get up, move your body, and get your mind right. As a matter of fact, before I do that, I want to just ask one thing of you. How's your day going? Did you win the morning? You win the morning, you win the day. When you win the morning, you win the day. And right now, if it's early morning and the sun is rising, it's rising up straight to the top. If you rising up right now, good. Win the morning, win the day. And I want to make sure I hear from you, because every time that you send me a text, you send me a DM, I absolutely love it. Make sure you text me or DM me. You're like, I don't have your phone number. Oh, yes, you do. Yes, you do. I gave it to you. Here's my number. Make note, 619-304-2216. 619-304-2216. Text me up. Be like, yo, TD, what's going on? I'm fired up. Listen to that Choose to Rise episode. Keep it coming. And guess what? I want to get your feedback. What do you want to continue to hear more about? Text me up, let me know, and until next time, you got to continue to make sure you choose to rise. My friends, today, you are going to be inspired. As you're getting your workout in or you're starting your day out, I can't wait to share the story of Jenna Mango with you. You're like, who's Jenna Mango? Jenna Mango is a new teammate on my Fitness Quest 10 team, but it goes back before that. So 2015 and 16 during Strong, she started following me. Next, not only through social media, she became part of my book launch team for Get Your Mind Right. She's on my book launch team. She continued following me throughout the pandemic, and she's like, man, Todd, I need to get out there with Fitness Quest 10. I'm going to share part of the story why Jenna Mango is on the Fitness Quest 10 team today and why she packed her bags and literally moved from Connecticut to San Diego in the middle of the pandemic without an actual job per se. And more importantly, I want to talk about being in the room. Being in the room, because Jenna Mango, through I won't call it a fortuitous situation, I'll call it an act of God and nothing less than an act of God, she was at a mastermind retreat because we invited her there. My good friend and colleague Julie Wilcox made her stay for the day, and next thing you know, she found herself sitting next to Kelly Watson, the founder and owner, CEO of Scripter Publishing. And she just wrote a book called Choose to Rise, came out on November the 9th. Folks, check this out. Jenna Mango has been consistently tested from a young age. Her life took a turn in high school, and she had mental wars within herself to fight through the bullying, heartbreak, burnout, abuse, invisible illness, and family struggles. Throughout it all, she finds the strength and confidence within herself to keep moving forward. Jenna vulnerably shares these experiences in her new book, Choose to Rise, and her story encourages you to reflect on your own life so that you can rise up also. Her advice and wisdom will inspire you to be the best version of yourself. Now, Jenna also talks about her love of mixed martial arts and some of the mentors she's had, including Glover Teixeira, who had a profound impact in her life through boxing and MMA, and what she's doing now here at Fitness Quest 10. My friends, I am so fired up for you to hear this conversation today with my new teammate and colleague, Jenna Mango. Let's go to the HQ right now and listen to Choose to Rise. Have you ever had a disaster in your life that's led to a dream? Have you ever been in pain that's led to a deeper purpose? I have. October 29, 2012, Hurricane Sandy ravaged the Jersey seashore. It absolutely annihilated the eastern seaboard, as many of you probably remember. As I sat here in San Diego thinking, man, how can I help? What can I do to all my family and friends who lost homes and businesses back there on the eastern seaboard? Well, without much time of thinking, I eventually created my Durkin Impact Foundation, 501c3. And over the last 9 years, we've given over $250,000 to families and individuals in need. As a matter of fact, the month of November is Impact Month. It's the one month in the entire year where we raise all of our funds so that we can gift back to the families and individual needs. We scholarship student athletes who are going to college and can't afford it. Families who come up with tough times and need help. That's what the Durkin Impact Foundation is all about. And today, I'm challenging all of you to think about a generous gift. $5, $50, $500, $5,000, $5 million, whatever on your heart. Now, a few things that are going on this month beyond just this great podcast that you're about to listen to in just a moment. Number one, if you're a coach, trainer, or fitness pro, November 7th to the 12th, I want to challenge you to sign up for free. Sign up for free to our Impact Summit. The Todd Durkin Impact Summit is going to gather the people I coach so that we can give back to the industry and save and revitalize the fitness industry. Sign up November 7th to the 12th. Sign up today, toddurkin.com. Also, Impact Day is on November 20th. If you're in San Diego, I would love to lead a workout session with you. If you're not in San Diego, don't worry about it. Later in the day, 11 o'clock West Coast time, 2 o'clock East Coast time. I'm not quite sure what time that is in Europe, but I want to invite you to an Impact Talk. And let me tell you what, I'll have fire and brimstone on in the HQ as I give this talk both virtually and live. Sign up today for the Impact Day on November 20th. All you have to do to sign up or make a donation is go to toddurkin.com. When you go to toddurkin.com, all of the details are there for both the Impact Summit, Impact Day, and any way that you would like to make your generous gift today. Thank you for what you do every single day and for creating impact. Until next time, I want you to tune in and listen to today's great episode. Let's go there now. Jenna Mango is in the house. Jenna, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, TD.
It is great to have you. I'm so excited to share Jenna with all of you. She is a true gem and her energy is contagious. Folks, just so you know, Jenna has been a trainer and coach at Fitness Quest 10 now for a whopping 6 months. 6 months. And she has one heck of a story. And the reason why I wanted to share her story today is because she has a book coming out on November 9th called Choose to Rise. Choose to Rise. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later on today. But Jenna, give us the backstory of how the heck we first connected way back when, many years ago.
Oh, Todd, it's been a couple of years. But I first heard your name when you were on Strong.
Okay.
In 2016, I was a senior in college. I was about to graduate. And I just loved how you interacted with your athletes and the impact that you've had on them. And from that, I was like, I'm going to follow him on every social media platform there is, because I was not in a happy place at that time in my life. And you were just such an impact and a positive energy that I wanted on my newsfeed. Okay,
so let's step back. You're a senior in college. I'm trying to get into your head here. Take me through. You're a senior in college. You're watching Netflix. And what you came across Strong on Netflix, and you and your friends are hanging out on a Saturday night, late night, instead of going to the frat parties, you're watching Strong. Is that how it happened?
1,000%. Yes.
Okay, good. Just making sure that we're clear on that. Okay, so you start to follow me on social media.
Yes.
Fast forward, keep going.
Yes. So after I graduated with my undergrad, I went...
Kinesiology? What was it?
Psychology.
Psychology, okay.
Yeah. So I was in a completely different field.
Okay.
And I went and got my master's degree in applied behavior analysis. So still in a completely different field. And after I graduated, went and immediately worked in the field, lasted maybe 10, 11 months, absolutely hated it, and said, I'm going to do more of what makes me happy. And so I quit my job, and I was still following you at the time. And I thought to myself, why can't I be a personal trainer? I looked it up and I was like, oh, I don't need to have a college degree in any field like that. I can completely transfer over. So I did that.
Right. So you're saying basically, you saw a post probably that said, "Quit your job, become a personal trainer. You gotta let go you gotta give up to go up, and you gotta let go to get to the next level in your life." Is that something like that? Probably.
I mean, you said it, not me.
Okay. So you see this post that essentially says, "Follow your dreams, follow your passions, follow what you love to do, and it'll ultimately lead you down the path that you are most destined to based on your divine purpose," and keep going. So next thing you know, I've got a book coming out called Get Your Mind Right in June 2020, in the middle of the pandemic. You were amongst 500 people or so that were part of a book launch team, correct?
Yes.
Share that experience.
Yeah, I saw you put out a post and said, pretty much, who wants to be part of my book launch team? I have a book coming out. And I saw that and I was like, why wouldn't I want to do that? So I joined your book launch team. I got to read it before it was even launched.
Yep.
And from there, I was like, I want to be a part of this. You want to be a big dog, you got to be with the big dogs.
Oh.
So I wanted to be a part of that.
Okay. So for those of you who are not familiar with the book launch team, maybe some of you who are listening in were part of that last book launch team that we had. A book launch team is something that I learned way back several years ago when I was launching the Wow book. A friend of mine, a colleague, his name is Daniel Decker. I heard him and Pat Flynn and Daniel Decker talking about the power of a book launch team. So Daniel Decker and Pat Flynn talk about the book launch team. I'm like, that's brilliant. I got to have a book launch team. So I got anyone who wanted to be part of the book launch team from my mastermind, any trainers, coaches, any fitness enthusiasts who were just following me from Fitness Quest 10 or anywhere across the world. And we were going to provide them great value leading up to the launch. And all they were asked to do was to share about the excitement of the book coming up. At that time, it was the Wow book, 2016, 2017. And then, of course, the Get Your Mind Right book on that. Now, folks, just so you know, with 500 people on a book launch team, and that's a pretty big book launch team. Typically, you try to get to 100 to 200 people. Baker Publishing, who was my publisher for Get Your Mind Right, said, "Hey, we've got a great following here. Let's use these folks to really get the word out on Get Your Mind Right, because we're in the middle of a pandemic. And is there ever a better time in the middle of a pandemic for a book to be coming out called Get Your Mind Right?" Right? Absolutely. So what was maybe one or two of your highlights from that book launch experience? Can you remember any?
I just loved how there was a Facebook group.
Yep.
And how everyone was so active. It was just a nice community that you had on that Facebook group, and everybody supported one another. People would post, "Hey, I'm having a bad day today." And they had so much support throughout the day. That was definitely the biggest highlight. That has nothing to do with the actual book itself, but the book launch team. It was the community, which I really enjoyed.
Now, were you in a good space at that point in your life, or were you in a bad space? I mean, here we are, June 2020. You're living in, was it Connecticut at the time?
Yes. So I'm originally from Connecticut, was living in Connecticut at the time.
Okay.
It's a pandemic, so I was at home with my family. So I wouldn't say I was in the worst that I've ever been in my life, but I really wasn't in the best of times.
Mm-hmm. But you were in search mode.
I was, absolutely. Search of something new.
Fast forward, how the heck you got hired at Fitness Quest 10?
Yeah, so...
Because I didn't know Jenna during the book launch team. I didn't know everybody, but I was certainly posting in there, and we were having lives. I'd see your name, obviously, but we had not formally met at that point. And, if someone was having a, quote, bad day, I'd be like, "Get your mind right." We got to work out, eat right, read the book, and get your mind right. But fast forward to actually your decision to, number one, apply, and then eventually get hired.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the time, gyms were already open when we had gone back after the pandemic.
Yep.
And what had happened was the whole day, I thought to myself, I want something new. The plan was never to stay in Connecticut my entire life, but things kept happening in my life that kept me there. And you had, here we go, another typical TD post, something motivational on your story. And I was like, I wonder if they have anything out there. Like I said, you want to be a big dog, you got to surround yourself by big dogs. So I went on your website and I saw that you only had an internship. And I was like, I can't really do an internship at this particular time. I have something really good at Equinox, working at Equinox in Southport.
Yep.
And so I was like, you know what? Let me just email them. So I emailed you and Jeff Bristol. And I sent you my resume, my cover letter, and said, if anything opens up in the future, I would love to be considered. Because I thought to myself, the worst thing that they could say is no, or they don't respond. And that's really not that bad. Those two things aren't that bad. And I got an email from Jeff Bristol 2 hours later and said, hey, can you hop on a Zoom call? Hopped on a Zoom call that week, hopped on another Zoom call the following week, and then flew out here for a week for a final interview. And then he offered me the job.
I love it. A couple things here, folks. Know this. There's a lot of people who are in search mode right now, right? You were in search mode, several months ago when you were looking for a potential opportunity to grow in the field of fitness and strength and conditioning and everything that you're doing. Also, when it comes to quote posts, I think half the posts that I write are as much for me as they are for anyone that are listening, because it's where I'm at in my own walk too. When you talk about giving up to go up and letting go and letting God and moving forward and all of these different sayings that I have, a lot of times I'm speaking to myself, and a lot of the moves I made even in 2020 and 2021, including Jeff Bristol and how he's helping me now with Fitness Quest 10, is so that all of us continue to really hone in on our life's purpose and how we can serve more people and create more impact, obviously. So keep telling us about that process. Jeff, he emails you back a couple hours after you email him, and then what happens?
Yeah, so I had a Zoom call with him and Jesse.
Yep.
And then the following week had a Zoom call with Jeff and Jesse, but then the entire leadership team. And then eventually, because Jeff took 2 weeks to not email me back, so I thought I screwed up the whole thing, emails me back and says, can you fly out here for a week? I want you to be exposed to Fitness Quest 10 and really see if you could see yourself living here.
Yeah.
And so I flew out here for the week and he offered me the job and I accepted it. And he said, all right, how fast can you move out here? And I was like, well, I'm moving across the country, Jeff. Maybe month and a half. He goes, how about 3 weeks? I was like, all right, let's do it. So I moved out here in 3 weeks. Moved out here the weekend of Mother's Day.
It's funny. I'm laughing to myself thinking those 2 weeks that you didn't hear back from Jeff. What were those 2 weeks like?
It was rough. It was rough because I wanted this so bad that when I didn't hear from him, I just thought, oh, now what am I going to do? This is what I want. I'm so invested in this. I know that I will succeed out here. I want to grow. I want to succeed. And I want to be a part of everything that they have at Fitness Quest. So it was almost like you're checking your phone nonstop. You are obsessed with your phone. Every time it vibrates, you're like, that's an email or that's a text message. And it's not. And then you kind of just sink down again. And you're just like, nope, I got to keep my head up. We're going to get through this. He's probably busy. And I don't know. He was busy on vacation, meetings, and eventually
that's why I asked, because so many times when someone's going through a process, maybe it's an interview process or you're waiting for a contract or a consulting deal or whatever it may be in your business or life, your career, is when we don't hear back, we assume the worst. They don't like me. I'm not going to get hired. But the last I checked, everyone's really busy, right? Like we're in the middle of a pandemic. We're trying to save the gym. We're really not in hiring mode per se. And I know Jeff was out for a week on vacation or so. And I hear the story afterwards. I'm just laughing at myself because, when someone's going through that, it's the worst. You worry, you think the worst. But on the other end, if you're going through that process now, realize this, everyone's busy. And it's not, don't take it personal in the sense of, man, they haven't got back to me in the time frame that I want, because everyone's trying to survive and get through this, right? So I thought that was funny. Keep going with the process.
Yeah. So after I moved out here, I really wanted to be exposed in everything Fitness Quest.
Hold on. We can't skip over the part, the final interview.
Oh, the final interview with my parents?
Yes. So you all know, Jeff says, hey, Todd, there's a gal. She's been on your book launch team. She follows you for years. She knows you from Strong. She's a great fit. She's been training at Equinox. She's got experience. We think she'd be a great fit at Fitness Quest 10. Now, truth be told, I wasn't part of those previous interviews, but he said, hey, we're in the final stages here. Can you hop on a Zoom with her and her parents? I'm like, interesting. 21 years of doing business. I've never got on a Zoom call with or had an interview with someone's parents. But sure, why not? This is a new era we live in. And I got to say, in that interview, Jenna, and I've told you this before, but I want y'all to know, is in this interview, I'm looking at not only you, but I'm looking at your dad, because all I could think about was my daughter, McKenna, at your age, saying, Dad, I want to move across the country. I have a great job opportunity. And you want the best for your son or daughter, but also from a father, I'm looking at your dad thinking, man, like, are you supposed to say, go spread your wings and fly, honey? I love you. Go do your thing, which obviously is the, quote, correct answer. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, a father's, quote, giving away his daughter to potentially move, I don't know, for a year, 3 years, 5 years, forever. And that's a big move. And I remember literally going home that day and talking to Melanie, like, I had the most amazing interview experience today that I don't even remember a word you said, Jenna. I just remember looking at your dad, like tearing up, thinking, man, I don't know if I could give up my daughter to say, hey, yeah, go across the country, hon, and get the dream job, because that's a hard thing for any parent, let alone a mom or a dad, and a son or a daughter, but especially from a father to a daughter. So that was a memorable experience that I'll never forget. So you get out here. Absolutely.
And, just speaking on that as well, that speaks volumes to you and Jeff Bristol as well, because I'm 26 years old and you are having a Zoom call, FaceTime with my parents for a job and I'm 26. So that just speaks volumes to you and Jeff and really taking me under your wing coming here.
Yeah.
Which was amazing.
Well, it's not easy because I don't know who's listening that actually hires people. But one thing I found out is when someone has to move across the country for a big job like this where the expectations are high and it's a grinding job. Hey, if you're a trainer coach, training and grinding ain't easy. When you step into a new community, a new place in San Diego, even though San Diego from the outside is like, oh, it's, sunny 365 days is the perfect place. Yeah, it's also expensive. And also, it's not just easy to go anywhere across the country. So I knew this was a big move for you, a big move for anyone. And especially in the middle of this crazy time that we were in and are in, it's a time that you have to take every extra step possible to make sure that it's the right move for you right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I moved out here.
Yep.
Jeff set me up with someone to live with, and about a month, and then I moved into a condo with a couple other roommates. But when I got out here, I wanted to be included in everything Fitness Quest.
Yeah.
I really wanted to submerge myself in this community. And so I started coming to everything. Even if I wasn't supposed to be at the gym, if I didn't have a session,
be there.
I was there. I was in the room.
Show up. Show your
and
face.
I just watched.
Show your face. Yep.
Yeah.
Good. And folks, if you're starting out in a new job, show your face. Be there more than you're expected. How can I help? How can I serve? Get to know people's names, get to know what they're all about, get to know the values of the company, get to know everything that makes someone tick, know the history of the company, which you did, Jenna, because not only from all of my experience, but also Fitness Quest 10, you had done your due diligence. So, okay, sharp gal. She's got it. She understands what it takes. So through all the training with the leadership team, with being there, taking classes, all of these things, made a huge difference. Let me ask you this. Now, you've been here since May 2021. So May 2021, just about 6 months you've been here. Maybe what's one or two of the big lessons that you've learned or seen in the 6 months that you've been at Fitness Quest 10?
Definitely be in the room. If you don't have to be there, be there. Take the time. It's almost like volunteer hours, but be there. Because people learn things about you. They see your face. They get to talk to you. And that really makes a difference. I've even had people come up to me. They didn't know that I had a martial arts background. Mm-hmm. And because of that, my boxing has grown at Fitness Quest 10.
Yeah.
So definitely a top lesson is just be in the room and be kind. Talk to everybody. It costs $0 to be kind and to just talk to someone and be genuine and have conversations with them. Even ask them how their day is, because you don't know what they have going on in their lives.
Yep. What do you love most about being a coach at Fitness Quest 10?
Definitely the community. Definitely the community. I mean, the East Coast, it's a totally different way of living than the West Coast. So coming out here and realizing that everybody genuinely cares about my well-being and myself, even outside the doors of Fitness Quest, is without a doubt my favorite thing about being a trainer at Fitness Quest.
You know what I always said? I heard this in 1997 when I was moving out to the West Coast. Someone said, if you could take an East Coast mentality out to the West Coast, you could do really well for yourself. Because if you can grind and you can work your tail off, remember the blue collar mentality that you come from, where your family comes from, and take it out here where health and fitness and wellness, I think, is at the forefront of most people's minds. Now, let's face it, nowadays, anywhere around the country, health and wellness and fitness is certainly has blossomed in the last 23 years on that. But I don't care where you are. If you take a blue collar mentality and a work ethic where you're going to be there, and it's not like, well, I only have one client today, I'm just going to show up for the 1 hour. That's not going to get you too far in life. Or, if you're trying to grow a business, I don't care what sector you're in, what industry, and you're trying to grow a business, you got to be there. You got to show up. When you're trying to grow something special and grow a culture, you've got to be there. You've got to serve. You've got to over deliver in every step of the way. And our community certainly is special at Fitness Quest 10. It always has been, always will be. And the people make the culture, the team, the people who are showing up, the clients, the members and all that. Any other things that you love about Fitness Quest 10 that say, man, it's a great day to be at Fitness Quest 10.
Definitely the energy. Right when you walk in, you're greeted by, director of first impressions that are just absolutely amazing. You're greeted by other trainers and clients, and everybody pushes you to get 1% better every single day in all aspects of your life. So it's nice to be surrounded by people that make you grow.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's contagious, by the way. Speaking of contagious, if you're right now listening, you're like, man, I wish I had that at my gym or my business or my career. Guess what? You be that person. I think it's you be that person. And if you're trying to be that person, but leadership, if you're not a leader or on the leadership team, or you're not the owner or the GM or whatever your leadership role might be, then after a while, you got to figure out how you can create that in your life. Because I've said that for 22 years now, come January, is the culture all starts from the top, and you've got to, you got to lead yourself, and everyone on the team's got to lead themselves, because if you're no good, then we can't be any good. And every single person matters, and every single person counts as well. Speaking of mattering and counting, one of the reasons why I wanted to highlight you on today's episode is you were in the room on June 5th, 2021. We had a mastermind retreat here. We had about 25 of my mastermind members. These are fitness pros, coaches, and fitness entrepreneurs from all over the country, the best of the best in what they do. Most of them are either brick and mortar owners or leaders of their clubs and organizations. And they're out here. We had a 2-day retreat. And I invited you to come in and to be in the room, and you obliged. Move forward with this story. What happens at that retreat that actually changed your life and now is part of what will be your history? Explain what happened that day.
Yeah, so you actually called me out.
No.
Yes, you did.
I did?
Yes, you did.
I'm always calling people out.
You made me come to the front of the room
Yep.
and talk to everybody about who I am. How did I get out here? What am I doing at Fitness Quest? And then I was going to leave. And then Julie was like, why don't you just stay for the activity? There's a seat right there in front. Just stay for the remainder of the activity.
Julie, I can't believe it.
I know, right?
I love it. Okay, good.
So I decided that I was going to sit down. I sat in between two people, a woman and a gentleman, and you were going through activity, and they had to write. And I didn't have paper or a pen because I wasn't going to stay. I wasn't prepared for this. And the woman next to me hands me a piece of paper from her notebook and a pen so I can participate. Well, when the activity was done, I was like, okay, I'm going to leave now. I don't want to overstay my welcome at all. And I was taken by two guys. They're like, you're going to be part of our group today. Let's go. We're off to discuss the activity. And so I did that.
So as she's saying this, folks, part of these retreats, what I do is I post big questions on business or personal growth and development. And when I ask these questions and lead and facilitate the writing of these, after doing that for, let's say, 15 to 20 minutes, we then break out into small groups and we discuss their answers in small groups of, at this point, was 3, where they could share, group it up, talk about their answers, get some feedback, positive, negative, right? Feedback is the breakfast of champions. So keep it going. You're in this small group. You're discussing your answer along with 2 other gentlemen in your group.
Yes,
keep going.
Absolutely. And of course, mine was more about personal development or even just excelling in my job. I was new. And so I couldn't really speak on business. I wasn't a business person. I had no background in that. So I was just speaking about, what I had going on. And so I ended up staying the entire day because I met with these two guys and we discussed the activity. They're like, all right, you're going to stay.
Yep.
And I was like, all right, I guess I'm staying. So I ended up staying the entire day until the last activity.
What was on your paper?
So on my paper was, I wrote an autobiography and I would like for it to be published.
So you write that down as part of the facilitation. You write that down. And then when I went around the room and asked everyone to share, I pointed at you as one of the folks to share, not knowing what it was. And you shared that, correct?
Yes. Yes, I did.
And then what happened?
And then you looked me in the eyes, you bowed your head, looked back and said, do you even know who you're sitting next to right now? And I was like, no. And you were like, that's Kelly, CEO of Script Publishing. The woman that handed me that paper and pen is the woman that was going to publish my book.
And she didn't even know what you were going to put in the paper.
She did not know at all.
That's called the God thing. So let me make sure y'all understand. Jenna shares she's going to write a book, has an autobiography, and right next to her in that room is Kelly Watson. Kelly Watson is one of the founders of Scripter Publishing. They've published over 100 books in 3 short years. They got that idea, her and Greg Justice, from a mastermind retreat, Park City, Utah, and Telluride, where they actually came up. I'm like, we need in the fitness industry a book publishing company that can dominate the space for a trainer, coach, someone in the speaking space that wants to get their story out. They started that. Since then, they've taken it tenfold, and now they're publishing books of all different genres. But you happen to be sitting next to the founder, CEO of Scripter Publishing, Kelly Watson, perhaps one of the best coaches I know of. When I say coaches, like business, life, executive coaches I know. And she's sitting next to you.
Yes.
What happens next?
I was speechless. Honestly, I didn't know what to do, what to say. All I said, I pointed to her. I was like, this is Kelly?
Because I'd already talked about her.
You had already talked about her prior when I was out here for the week.
Yeah. Folks, you hear me say all the time, be in the room, be in the room, be in the room. If you weren't in the room, your book wouldn't be being published on November 9th called Choose to Rise. Because being in the room that day, when I bowed my head, it was one of those God moments where I was like, are you kidding me? All the people in that room, there's 25 people. They're all there for a reason. You don't even know the reason why. I ask a question, have a pair share. You go deep on that. You come back, sit next to a publisher that publishes books. You state the intention that you're going to write a book, but you have no idea how it's going to get done. You don't know the process, and you're sitting next to the person who actually does that for a living and has produced bestseller after bestseller after bestseller after bestseller after bestseller, knows the process. Hold your hand, and in less than, let's see, July, August, September, October, now it's November, less than 5 months, you've got a book coming out that is a baby being birthed into the universe that's going to live with you for your legacy and impact forever and ever. That's huge.
You just gave me goosebumps again.
It's truth. It's the truth. That's a God thing. When I say, guys, you always hear me, be in the room, be in the room. It's not just rhetorical, be in the room. Show your tails up. You said, you want to play with the big dog, you got to be a big dog, you got to show up. You showed up, you got hired. You're here. And I'm sure there's days where you're like scratching your head thinking, what the heck am I doing? Yeah, we all have those days still. And then next thing you know, hey, show up. Next thing Julie holds your hand. She's like, no, you need to stay here longer than, 5 minutes to say hello. You sit down, you sit your booty down. Someone gifts you a piece of paper and pen because you had no idea what you were even getting into. You're in a pair share group discussion. Next thing you know, you're next to Kelly Watson. You're like, TD's talking fast because I'm a little fired up right now. You can't tell because you just wrote a book. 6 months ago, this book was a thought. Yeah. Like everyone else has a thought. Now it's actually, coming out. Right. And it's going to change. It's going to change the world. Tell me about Choose to Rise. Why did you write it? What's it about?
So originally it wasn't even starting out as a book. Mm-hmm. It was just me journaling as a coping mechanism. And then
coping mechanism for what?
I was in a very unhealthy relationship.
Okay.
And so I would just journal of how I was feeling during that day. And I continued that.
High school and college? With the unhealthy relationship?
The end of senior year going into college and then throughout college.
Okay.
Yeah. So it just was continuing that I was journaling, talking about how I was feeling. And then slowly I started talking about other experiences like high school. And then I started journaling about high school. Yep. And then something happened within my family that I was like, I feel like I have something special here and I'm going to turn it into a book. And then that's how I turned it into a book. And then, my family coming out of that hard time, I decided that I wanted this out in the world because if my words can help one person, then it's successful because it's contagious. Like you said, you help one person, that one person helps one person, and then it's a positive domino effect.
Who's the book for?
My brother Patrick.
But beyond your brother, and I know it's dedicated to him, but beyond him, like who should read the book?
Everyone, because I really feel like even though I'm 26 years old, I've battled through so much adversity in my life that there is something
like what?
Like bullying, abuse, toxic relationships, family struggles, burnout. There is something in this book for everyone, regardless of your age. Yes, majority younger females, daughters maybe, but without a doubt, there is something that someone can take away from my book, regardless of what it is.
Fathers and mothers?
Fathers and mothers.
With kids that have problems or don't on the outside have problems, because on the outside, no one even really knew you had problems. Right? How bad did it get? You mentioned bullying, abuse, all these things. How bad, like what was the worst that it ever was as far as any of those things? When was like the tipping point, like, man, I gotta do something with my life?
I would say probably around 2017. That's when I changed my career and had broken up with my boyfriend at the time.
Okay.
And since I wasn't happy at all, it's like I'm in a very, very dark place. And the only person that can pull me out of this dark place is myself, because it starts with me first.
You're how old at the time?
22.
Okay.
22.
Okay.
And so that's when, I had changed my career, and even just that small change at first, I was like, I am so much happier in this new career. And I was single for the first time since I was 17. I was like, okay, I don't have to worry about someone else right now. So that helped in a sense as well. And then as time went on, my family had a very hard situation that we had to get through as a family, that home never felt like home. I felt like I was walking on eggshells all the time. I was anxious. And reading Get Your Mind Right, it's like, I need to put my health first. And it's not just health in regards to working out. Working out is fine, but I need to fix my mental health. And so then I had to go through that process again. And that's when I took it upon myself to go see someone. I don't think that you need to be have mentally ill problems to go see a therapist.
Amen.
And so I reached out and got my help and put myself first for once.
How important was that therapist in overcoming some of the problems, challenges, adversity you were facing?
Very important, because I tried to convince myself that I was fine.
Okay.
I tried to convince myself that it's been years, I'm strong, I don't need to see somebody, and I'm good, I'm fine. When in reality, even after reading Get Your Mind Right and reflecting on my life, I wasn't fine at all. I suppressed all this. And so speaking with her, she actually helped me heal from things that happened back in high school. That I had been carrying for so long, for so many years, because I never attacked those problems head on. I thought, hey, if I go to school in Massachusetts or I transfer schools in Connecticut, the problems just disappear. But in reality, they don't.
Because you went from Springfield College, Massachusetts, to
Eastern Connecticut.
Yeah.
Yes. And I thought, oh, those problems are gone. I was a field hockey player. And I thought those problems were gone. But those things follow you. And they impact you more than you think that they do, even if you keep telling yourself that you're fine.
Yeah. It's interesting because would you consider yourself a deep soul?
Yes.
Because I'm thinking about all the young gals out there who are 20, 21, 22, 23, just a young gal. You're away at college. Mom and dad are like, she's doing great. She's on the field hockey team. She's doing well in school. And then there's this silent battle going on that as a parent or a mentor or a coach, you don't even know is happening. And your kid soul is dying. because of these struggles, whether it be abuse, whether it be food, right? Which is body image, all of these things that are real today. And that's why I wanted to get you on, because you have experienced all of these things in a short period of time. Heck, you're still a young woman with a lot of impact to create. I know the book is the next step in your path and journey, but I don't want to underemphasize that silent battle that goes on with not just gals, but boys too, but especially gals in the story that you share and Choose to Rise about from high school and the battles you faced, and you didn't want to burden your mom and dad and that. You say that you dedicate this book to your brother. Why?
Because he is the reason that it turned into a book.
Explain.
My brother was in the Navy, and he battled a lot with mental health. And he intended on taking his own life twice.
Okay.
And that was a very hard thing that my family and I had to go through together, because yes, it affects my brother, absolutely, but it also affects us as well. And with that, I realized what I had in this journal at the time. And I realized all of these things that I have gone through, all of this adversity that I have faced. And if my brother can make it out of that, other people can too. And so I turned it into a book.
So your brother, on 2 different occasions, potential suicide. Fortunately, he did not take his life, and he's living back in Connecticut with the family and doing great things now. That was the impetus for you to say, I've got to share this story and all that we've been through as a family on that, because you are an extremely positive person, right? And if no one here in the Fitness Quest 10 community didn't know your story, they're like, oh, Jenna, she's so nice. She's so positive. She's so energetic. And then you don't even know the story. And that's what's so beautiful about this is your story. And you always hear me say, live a life worth telling a story about. What's your story? The key is not just live a life worth telling a story about, it's what's your story? And Choose to Rise is the story of Jenna Mango, but it's also, I would say it's almost a manifesto of how to live one's life when you're young, that when you face, when you face adversity, challenge of any kind, regardless of the magnitude, what are some things that one could actually choose to do to get help, to get stronger? What's your hope, Jenna, when someone reads this book, what they experience from this book?
I hope that when they read this, that they realize that they're not alone. Because when you go through these things, you think that you're alone and you don't want to tell someone.
Yeah.
Because you think that nobody can connect to what you're going through. When in reality, there is someone that can connect with you.
Okay.
So I want them to know that they're not alone.
Yep. So if someone read the book, what would be 3 words that you think they would say about the book? If there were 3 words that someone would say, man, I read Choose to Rise. What would be a few words?
I think top 3 words would be it's vulnerable, it's resilient, and it's inspirational.
Vulnerable, resilient, and inspirational. I like that. I think we all need that, right? The more vulnerable we are, we realize that's actually sometimes pulling the scab off the skin, actually go deeper to heal what may be there. The resilience, last I checked, we need to be resilient as heck these days. And we need an army around us to be resilient, because when you're solo, you think you're alone. It's a very lonely world and a depressing world if you think you're going to do it by yourself. There's a lot of people who need to be called in for the reinforcement, so to speak. And inspiration, I would say the same thing, folks. When you read Choose to Rise, even though Jenna shares in both high school, college, and even after that, some of the things that she had to deal with in adversity, the spin on it is so positive. And I've got to tell you, I was honored enough to write the foreword to this book. And I'm dang proud of you. I want you to know that I'm dang proud of you on November 9th when this world experiences your book. When I talk about impact, it's not just a word, impact. It's actually a purpose. It's actually a meaning behind that. And what happens is someone's going to read this book that you don't even know. And that person who reads that book, it could save a life. It could save a daughter or son's life, or a mom or dad's life, because of what you share. And you were so vulnerable. Like, wow, she's sharing that. Oh my gosh, wow. Not only makes for good reading, that's real life. That's real life stuff. And when I talk about impact, Jen, I want you to know that choose to rise. Choose to rise. Matter of fact, y'all say that with me right now as you're out exercising, working out, cooking, cleaning, taking the kids, whatever you're doing. Choose to rise becomes a mantra. A mantra. It almost becomes a movement of like, it's a choice. You rise up or you stay stuck with where you're at. And whether that be a job, whether that be your life, whether that be a relationship that you're in that you're not happy with, or that may be abusive, like, choose to rise. Now, what does rise mean to you, right? So all of these things, I'm going to put this on the must read category for 2021. This is a must read book. I read a lot of books, and heck, the foreword alone might be worth it.
I couldn't agree more.
I wrote a book just in the foreword. I actually enjoyed writing that foreword quite a bit. Any other points you'd like to make about the book on that you feel is important that our listeners understand today?
Definitely vulnerability is the biggest factor, because I think being vulnerable is key to success, to growth, and to healing.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, get out of your comfort zone, because a plane is safest on the ground, a ship is safest on the shore, a car is safest parked in the garage, but that's not what they were made for. So what makes you any different?
That's good. That's good. Jenna, now as a coach and trainer at Fitness Quest 10, how does this tie into your life's purpose? You now add author to your title, right? Trainer, coach, author, and soon to be what I'm going to say is going to be a best-selling author. But how does this fit in as a coach and trainer? How do you see on a daily basis when you're here early in the morning or late at night or on the weekends and there's not many people here, but you're training a young gal or a couple or a guy or a woman that you're training their life? What's the correlation between choose to rise and your job as a coach?
It goes back to vulnerability, because I am so vulnerable now that it makes my connection with my clients even stronger. And then I learn more about them and learn what they're going through, because they think that they're alone, because they don't want to burden anyone with their problems. And as a fellow trainer, we wear different hats when we train.
Sure.
And, therapist is one of them sometimes. And so sometimes things come out that I had never would have guessed that they are going through.
Yeah. And I'm going to venture to say, now that you shared your story, you're going to attract more people who feel more comfortable and trust you more because you shared your story. And that's the hard part. What happens is so many times is, I don't know if I want to share that. Man, I'm going to really share my soul if that's the case. And that's scary because it's not always pretty. And what I've always said, and the people whom I coach, is when you share your soul, good or bad, whatever you've been through, good or bad, positive or negative, all of a sudden you attract people who are going to feel more comfortable and trustworthy of you and are going to open up to you. And you're soon going to realize how many people have right now or have had similar situations that you faced and will in some ways obviously still work through. But this is only the beginning. Choose to Rise is only the beginning for you. And I'm so excited for your journey and your future and what Choose to Rise, the book, is going to do for you. Jenna, where can someone get the book Choose to Rise?
So they can purchase Choose to Rise on Amazon as a paperback or an ebook.
All right. So as a paperback or an ebook as of November 9th, mark your calendars, November 9th. You want to pick that book up. Great. By the way, great gift for the holidays. The holidays are coming up. So add that to the calendar. Hey, Julie, mark that today. We might need to add that to our top 10 list for our great gifts to give away here for the holidays of 2021. Choose to Rise. And Jenna, if someone wants to follow you for the inspiration that you put out on a regular basis in addition to your book, where would one follow you?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram.
Okay.
My handle is jmang13, JMANGGG13. And then Facebook, Jenna Mango.
There you go. We'll put that in the show notes as well, folks. So you have all of her social media. Follow Jenna Mango. Follow her. She started following me 2015 and 16 from Strong. It turned into, she was part of my book launch team. That turned into a job here at Fitness Quest 10. That turned into her showing up for a mastermind retreat where she just happened to, quote, air quotes going on, coincidentally sit next to not only Andrew Simpson and another author, but Kelly Watson, who is a publisher and ended up publishing her book. Folks, nothing is by happen chance. Nothing is a mistake in life. It's where you go. It's who you put your faith in, what you do, who you hang out with. And all of a sudden, when you do that and you show up in the room, great things happen. And Jenna Mango, you have showed up literally since 2015. And now look at you. Best-selling author, Choose to Rise. Folks, I'm so fired up. Go out, get the book. I hope this episode today was of great value today. Jenna, thanks so much for showing up and sharing Choose to Rise with us. Man, oh man, Jenna Mango, thank you so much. And more importantly, thank you. Thank you for listening to her story, her amazing story about Choose to Rise. You know, one of the best parts about my job as a podcaster is I get to listen to some amazing stories as well. And I didn't know Jenna Mango's full story when she even came out here to Fitness Quest 10. And when I look about how it all happened, it really was a God thing, including how she even came to write Choose to Rise. And from the bottom of my heart, I'm so honored that I had the opportunity to write her forward for the book. And I please encourage you today to share this episode. Share it. Why? Because there are people who are battling like Jenna battled throughout high school, college, and beyond with that invisible illness that she talks about. You don't know what's going on. Sometimes it seems like people have it all together. Everything is together and they're an athlete, or they have their life together, or they have a good career, or they're making a certain amount of money. All these things that you judge them that they have. And inside, sometimes they're crumbling. And you don't know that. So please share Choose to Rise. Share those 3 words she talked about being vulnerable, being resilient, and how the heck do we inspire people? One of the ways we share our vulnerability and resilience and our inspiration is you share this episode, because it's going to then go further impact hundreds or thousands of people because of your share. I simply want to say thank you. Thank you today for listening to this episode. I so absolutely love recording and doing these episodes and creating impact all around the globe, but it takes fire-breathing dragons, mind-right maniacs, people just like you right now who are out there walking, jogging. You don't feel your best day. You're like, suck it up, buttercup. Suck it up, buttercup. Choose to rise. I'm going to choose to rise today. I'm going to continue to choose to get up and never give up so I can rise up. Whatever that is today, I want to remind you today to train hard, to eat right, live inspired, create impact. And today, I want you to choose to rise. Until next time, peace and God bless.